Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Makenna, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and watching today's video. So today I really wanted to film a video, but I had no idea what I wanted to film. I definitely have more ideas for like some fashion videos and makeup videos that I want to do in the future, but for today's video I just kind of felt like sitting down and talking, just like basically like a story time. And I thought it would be an interesting video to just do like a story time about how I moved to New York and kind of like how I got my start here, because I love watching other people's videos about them moving to different cities, and I think it's cool to kind of just like get an inside scoop on like what it's like to live in different cities, and you know how why people moved, and I just think it's interesting. So I thought I would do a video about my story time, how I moved to New York, how I got here. And yeah, it's now been, I moved here 4 years ago, and what is absolutely mind-blowing crazy to me is that it's going to shortly be 5 years in February. February is my big when I sign my lease. So that's like a whole thing here, is when you sign your lease, you're typically in for at least 12 months, depending on what building you move in. So I got my New York start here in February. So I moved to New York right after I graduated college. I had always, what's weird is like I never really had like a dream of being in New York. Like I always was so like go with the flow. I never really had like a set plan for where I wanted to live, what I wanted to do, stuff like that. Like I was always super indecisive. So I did actually look at a couple schools here in New York that I almost went on tours for, but I think what really like deterred me was like the whole money aspect of it all. Like everyone says New York is super expensive. Like people will say, oh, it's like the billionaires playground, it's the millionaires. I will see dogs that literally live better lives than I do. And you know, there's times where I struggled and I asked like, why am I doing this? Why do I pay so much to live here? It's just basically what I'm saying is it's not cheap. So it's not like the easiest city to live in. So I'm not like gonna be here to like talk crap or shit on New York or anything, because obviously I'm gonna be here for 5 years. Like I feel like I can blink and the time just like flew by. But yeah, so I did look at some schools here. I looked into, like I said, I never knew exactly what I wanted to do for school or work or anything. So I looked into a school called FIT here in New York, and it's Fashion Institute of Technology. I've always been super passionate, super into makeup, super into clothing. And I never really knew what I could do with that. So yeah, I just thought like maybe I'll go to FIT, or there was a period where I thought I wanted to do makeup professionally. So I thought, let me look into some makeup academies. There's a place here called MUD, which stands for the Makeup Designery. I think they might even have a location in LA too. But yeah, so that wasn't really my thing. Once I saw those numbers, obviously I would be paying out-of-state tuition because I am from Pennsylvania. And once I saw those numbers, I got scared, and I was like, I was young and I obviously didn't have a lot of like financial knowledge when I was young, but I knew that I would be paying for myself to go to school. So I was like, I don't want to be paying all that kind of crazy money. So I was like, I'm gonna stay in Pennsylvania, go to school here, figure it out, and then if I want to move later, I can. So I went to school, I went to college in Pennsylvania, graduated, and then I was doing an internship here in New York City, and I was taking the bus every single day. I was commuting, and that bus ride is 2 hours to each way. So as you can imagine, I was absolutely miserable. there was nothing fun about that. Like, I think to this day that is why I have severe back pain from like sitting. Like, I mean, I know my posture is horrible. I'm trying to work on it and fix it. I've actually been seeing a lot of ads for like posture correcting bras, and I feel like I need that. I'm just like trying to get better with my posture. But anyways, yeah, so I was commuting, hated it. I was like, I need to get a job and I need to just move to New York because I can't, like, I thought the city was cool and I thought I wanted to be here, but I was like, there's just no way, I can't keep doing this bus thing. So I did get a full-time job, and it all happened so fast that I like didn't have a lot of money saved up. I was actually working another job when I was doing my internship. So I did my internship during the week, and then on my off days when I was not interning, I was working retail, and I worked at Victoria's Secret all throughout college. So if you want me to make a video on that too, like, I think that's fun. I've had literally so many jobs. I actually think that would be a really fun video because I have the most random jobs. Some of them you might not even believe. So I absolutely think that that would be a really fun video to make. So if you'd be interested in seeing that, just let me know. I can do like a video on each different job, and I can tell like funny stories. I've always been like a hard worker. Ever since I was 14, I had my first job, which was obviously under the table because that is illegal to work at the age of 14. In Pennsylvania. I knew I wasn't old enough to work, so I had a job where I got paid under the table. And yeah, so ever since I was 14, I've been working. Can't stop, won't stop. I just feel like that's like how my parents raised me, to be super hardworking. And basically they're like, if you want things in this world, you gotta get your ass out there and work for them, because they didn't just like hand things to me. So yeah, so I got my full-time job here in the city, and I was saving up money from working retail, and I was obviously like, in my mind, I knew how expensive New York was, but until I really went out and like looked at apartments for the first time, I didn't know just how expensive they were. So I was not looking at luxury buildings. I was not looking at anything fancy. It was literally the bare minimums. Just like, I wanted to be in at least like a somewhat safe neighborhood, because there are some areas that aren't the safest to be like, I mean, as with any city that you live in, or just anywhere in general that you live, you have good areas and you have bad areas. And like me being a young girl and living by myself, I had a roommate at the time, but I just knew like my goal eventually was to like have my own place. So I wanted to at least like live in an area that was safe for me to like walk alone at night and stuff like that. So I want to like make this a super long video. I'm gonna do like, I can do different segments and parts, and like do one video specifically on like apartment hunting, because that's a whole thing here. I learned everything the hard way because, like I said, I'm from Pennsylvania, and that's an area, I'm like, literally I live in the woods in Pennsylvania. Like, people buy homes there and no one rents. So I had no kind of like knowledge, and that's why I kind of want to make like informative videos that can hopefully help you if you're thinking about moving to New York or anything. I was saving up my money from my retail job, and I went to go look at apartments. So because I never went to school here and I didn't have any friends in New York City, I didn't know anyone that I wanted to live with. And obviously I could only move to New York if I had a roommate. And yeah, these apartment prices are sick here, like straight up sick. It's like, you know, you can, like, there's like majority of people in New York have roommates, and I don't blame them. Like, you know, no one wants to pay these prices, like they suck. But yeah, so I didn't know anyone, and for me that was an issue because I was never into social media. I always tried to like stay away from social media. I'm like a super shy person, and I never like was into taking pictures, and I always was just very camera shy. So with obviously that meant I did not enjoy social media. Like I didn't post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of that stuff. And like, this is new for me, and I'm pushing myself to be out of my comfort zone, which is why I started this YouTube channel, because I want to be more comfortable like talking in front of the camera. And obviously like I always loved YouTube, and I feel like it's my like type of social media that I do like, because you actually get to like talk and show your personality and like listen to other people's videos and like kind of get to know them more than just like posting selfies on Instagram, which like I honestly, if I'm being honest, I still don't like Instagram that much. Like it's not really my thing. I did make one like to have one, like, you know, to post about like my YouTube videos and stuff, but honestly like I still hate taking pictures of myself. But yeah, so I wanted to move to the city, and without having social media it was super hard to meet a roommate. So mostly because most of them thought I was catfish or I was fake, and I don't blame them, because literally, like, this is embarrassing, but my mom was like making posts on her Facebook, I think. She was like, and I can see why everyone was scared and no one wanted to respond or anything, because like that is weird. Like my mom was literally posting like an ad about me as her daughter, like, hey guys, my daughter is moving to New York City, and she doesn't have Facebook and she doesn't have Instagram, and she's not like big on social media, so she doesn't have any accounts that you can follow, but she's a 21-year-old girl, because that was my age at the time. Oh my god, like when I say that, that's crazy. Like I can't believe I was 21 when I moved here to New York, and now here we are. It's gonna be my 5th year. Oh my god, that's like a big milestone, my 5th year New York anniversary. I gotta go out and celebrate for that, but it makes me feel like kind of old. I'm 26 now, and I can't believe like 5 years has really flown by. I can't believe it. So yeah, my mom was like posting, being like, my daughter needs a roommate, and can't believe it, but someone actually, like, as you can believe, for, you know, rightfully so, most people ignored that post, but one girl actually reached out and we exchanged phone numbers. And basically there was like Facebook groups, and one's called Gypsy Housing, and there was an app at the time too called Simbi, which doesn't exist anymore. It like morphed into something else. I think it was called Roomie, and I don't know if this still exists, but if it does, I'll link it below if you're new to New York and you want to look for roommates. So yeah, but most of you probably have social media and, you know, can meet people that way. Just difficult. But so yeah, she made a posting on Simbi, and I matched with this other roommate. And obviously, like, safety tips, please, if you're gonna meet someone anytime online, like meet in a public place, and don't go alone if possible. So I obviously brought my mom with me, and we met here in the city, and we exchanged phone numbers and everything. We met at like a Starbucks in a public place, and from right then and there, like, we just had a conversation, and we were like, yeah, we both want to move here. You know, it was funny, we actually both worked in the same industry, both worked in the cosmetics industry, which was, it's like funny how it just worked out like that. But we went and we looked at some apartments, and we used the app Street Easy, and I highly recommend, if you're moving to the city, to look at Street Easy, because it's like, I mean, you can get fake listings anywhere, but I feel like it's pretty nice and easy, and like, I still reference that app living here in the city 5 years later. It just makes everything easy, especially if it's like your first year and you're still getting familiar with Manhattan, because it's such a huge city and there's so many different areas you could live in. It's just like more helpful. So we actually met with a broker, and he was super nice, and he just kind of like showed us around different areas, and we looked at God, I'm like getting so old, I can't remember all the different places we looked at. I want to say we looked at the Lower East Side, and then we looked at Upper East Side. And I obviously, like, when I came to New York to look for apartments, that was my first time ever coming to New York. I never ever went on vacation here or anything like that, so I was super new, never went to any of the sites. To this day, I still have not been to the Statue of Liberty or like any of those like iconic places. I've been to Central Park, but that's about it, which is bad, but I have time to go to those places. So we met with a broker, and we basically, that's like a real estate agent that works with rental units here in the city. So we met with him and he showed us around different apartments. One of the coolest apartments that we got to look at was right across the street from Madonna, which is so funny. He said Madonna lived there. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But what's funny is that apartments in New York rent so quick that as we were walking to go view this apartment unit, it actually was rented. Like, it's like a sick joke. Like, you're literally walking on your way to see it, and then he's like, oh shit, this one just went off the market within 20 minutes. So basically, like, things move very, very fast, which is stressful. So just like keep that in mind, that you have to like be quick. And like I said, I'm gonna do a whole separate video on the renting process, because like I would be here for I have like some good tips to share, and I would be here for so long and if I did this all in one video. So I will make a separate video on how to rent and stuff like that. So we just looked at different apartments and we finally found one that we loved, and it was in a super good location. There was a lot of restaurants, there was grocery stores, like everything we could need. There was laundry, which is like a luxury in New York because a lot of older apartments especially don't have laundry in the building, and you have to take your clothes to a laundromat or get a service to wash your clothing. So I was sold. I was like, oh my god, I can do my laundry in my own apartment, like this is amazing. I had a dishwasher, which again is like almost unheard of. So I was like, I need this place. And I thought, like, it wasn't huge, but it was a nice size for like, it was just me and my roommate, so 2 people. It was a nice size, and it was like, you know, not super updated, but it was like modern enough that I thought like, oh my god, this is so nice. And the only downside is that it was on the 5th floor of a walk-up building. So I'm not even joking, like each floor had 2 sets of stairs, so I had to walk up 10 flights of steps to get to my apartment. Like every time I got to my apartment, I was out of breath. And as you can imagine, every time I would forget something in my apartment, I would have to go back up. Or a lot of times I would just say, F it, it's gonna stay, because I can't keep doing that. But I feel like I did have like buns of steel from all those steps. I had a gym membership, I didn't even go because it was like day every day. So yeah, that was the only downside. It was a walk up and it was a super old building, so it was obviously hot AF. There was no air conditioning. There was a lot of mice. Yeah, a lot of mice, a couple roaches, saw it all. But overall it was a nice building, and I like felt fortunate enough to find a cute place to be like my first apartment here in the city. And then when we were like, okay, we want to rent this, let's do it, let's sign the paperwork. There's like a whole process. You have to have like certain paperwork. Usually they'll check your credit score, which I obviously had a non-existent credit score because I was literally like, I made it through all of college. I never even had a credit card, which I'm grateful for because I never got in debt. That was like the one thing my mom was like, I don't trust you with a credit card. Actually, I did have a credit card. I had a Victoria's Secret credit card because I worked there, which I literally spent like all my money that I made. I just spent right back at the store. So I guess it was like they weren't even paying me to work there. So yeah, I mean, for rightfully so, like for a good reason, I didn't have credit cards. I'm like grateful that my mom, that I listened to her, because I probably would have got myself into trouble. But yeah, so we went to go sign the lease, and we looked at a couple places, but again, like I said, things move so fast. It's like you have to either make that decision like within the like pretty much that same day or the day after. If you don't make a move, like you're gonna lose your apartment, someone else is gonna rent it. So we went to go sign the paperwork and everything, and once I saw those numbers like on paper, I was shook, because usually you need like a security deposit, which is literally the price of the rent itself. It depends on the apartment, but like don't be surprised if it says like it's gonna be the price of your rent, or like half of it or something. So we needed our security deposit, then we needed our rent, which honestly, like, I don't remember how much my rent was. I would share that information if I could remember, but I have a horrible memory. It was just a lot, like it was over $1,000. I know that for sure, a month, and that was like my portion. Like I want to say I paid like $1,650, like my portion, and then my roommate paid the same thing. Like it's crazy. I feel like it is $1,650, because like why would that number be stuck in my head? Like it's because that was painful every month when I had to pay that. It's like a mortgage. But yeah, like once I saw those numbers, like your rent, your security deposit, then you needed a broker's fee, which is like literally paying the person that's showing you your apartment, which like I'm grateful because he was helpful and I appreciated him. But like that's why I want to make a video about renting and like telling you to not pay a broker's fee, because you don't need to. So when everything was said and done, I think I needed like $6,000 to move in, which was absolutely wild for me to comprehend. Like, how do I come up with this money? So I literally sold my car just to be able to move to the city, which I obviously did not need anymore, because where was I parking it? Like, I'm not balling, I can't park my car in the city, nor did I even have a garage at my other apartment. So, but what's funny is now I do have a garage, but I have no car. So honestly, I could never drive in the city. Like I still to this day get anxiety. Like I still have my license and I drive back home in Pennsylvania, but I get anxiety driving, let alone like seeing how people drive here. Like I already know it would be very dangerous if I got behind the wheel in here in the city. So I sold my car and I had like my savings and everything, and I finally moved. And like honestly, moving is the most stressful thing anywhere, but like when you move to New York, like there's no room for U-Hauls and moving trucks and like all this stuff. So like even just recently when I moved into my apartment I'm in now, like the moving truck got a freaking parking ticket. Like I had to pay for a parking ticket for the moving truck. And I walked out there as she was writing the ticket. Like they have no chill here. Like they don't give a crap. So I don't know, it was literally the car was parked, or the moving truck was parked there for like 5 minutes and it got a ticket. So yeah, I had like family help me and we moved here in the city in literally like my mom's little car. There was like a huge storm, I remember this. Like everything that could go wrong went wrong on my moving day. Like it was a huge storm. And then my mom got a flat tire as she was driving me to the city. So we parked over on the side of the road and the car was broken down. And we had to move all of my crap to another car. And I was like, I remember I was carrying, like, I had like a plastic makeup organizer with like drawers, and I was just like walking with these drawers filled with like makeup hoarding, just like throwing them in this car. So yeah, we moved everything into a new car then. And as you can imagine, moving your stuff into a 5th floor walk-up apartment was not an easy task. Like I think like 5 people came to help me, and I was super grateful that I had help, because without it I would have never been able to do it. Like when I tell you, like I wanted to cry, like my calves were in so much pain. My calves were in so much pain. But yeah, we like carried everything up to the apartment, set everything up, and then I got all moved in, and I ended up staying in that apartment for 2 years. Like, I lived in it for 1 full year with my first roommate. Then I met 2 other girls once I lived here in the city, and then they ended up moving into the apartment with me, so then we were there for another year. So I spent 2 full years in my first apartment, and then after that I finally got my first place. It was actually funny because I just moved 1 street over. So I used to live on it's funny because, like, in the city, when people ask you where do you live, you'll say like the cross street. So I live on blah blah and blah blah Ave. So I lived on 82nd Street, and then I ended up moving into my own place, and I moved to 81st Street. So I literally moved 1 street down. I legitimately like carried all my stuff from my one apartment, walked it to my next apartment. It was a super cute place. It was like an older building. It was still a walk up, but like, oh my god, when I tell you, I was so grateful that I only had to go up like 2 flights of steps. Super grateful after that first apartment, and I ended up staying there for a year, and then COVID hit, and obviously you know, things were crazy, and a lot of people were actually leaving the city because people didn't want to stay here in New York and everything. A lot of people like weren't working here, so like, why should we keep paying this rent if we don't even have to work here? So yeah, I finished out 1 year with that apartment, and then I finally made the move. I did move to a new part of the city, and I'm really loving it so far. And for once in my life, like, I don't have to do walk up anymore. So I feel like super blessed to have an elevator for the first time in my life. And I tell you, I'm grateful every single day. I am grateful every single day. So yeah, that was just kind of like my story about how I moved to New York and how I met my roommate. And I literally moved more times than I would like to admit. Like, that's pretty typical here in the city. Like, you'll move often. You know, either your rent will go up, or if your roommate leaves and then you can't find another roommate. Like, there's so many things that could happen, and just moving is very common here in the city. Like, but now I'm grateful that I'm finally in a place that I love, and you know, I hope to stay here for a while, because honestly, I'm just sick of moving, and I would like to like hold a new personal record for myself that I stay here for longer than 1 year. This will be like my first time ever having my own place for longer than a year. And yeah, like I said, I do want to make, it's like the sun is setting and now it's getting super dark and my phone's about to die, so I want to wrap this video up. But I definitely plan on making more videos, like tips on how to find an apartment, and you know, I can even do like videos about like pros and cons of living in like different parts of the city. So if that's something you'd be interested in, just let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.